Tonight on Football Transfer News Today, we have a ton of breaking stories that have gone on throughout the day. I'm here to give you guys the recap on the most important stories that you guys need to be locked in for. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's discuss today's first big massive report. And we start with things by discussing the breaking news, the biggest story today, and that's Marc Guehi set to join Man City. Now, we all understood this was going to happen already. The Here We Go officially came today, courtesy of Mr. Romano. Marc Guehi is set to sign a deal until 2031 at Man City. In terms of the cost of the deal though, we're getting many different ideas and possibilities behind how much Man City are really set to pay. At the moment, reports originally suggested the fees around £20 million, but courtesy of the German journalist Patrick Berger, Man City are set to pay 26 million plus 3 million in add-ons, and they've also agreed an 18 million euro a year contract with Marc Guehi. Now that works out to be around 300,000 a week. If you guys remember my last report, I mentioned that because Man City are getting Guehi to leave them earlier before the end of the season where he's available on a free, and being available on a free allows you to then kind of get the most amount of money through signing on bonuses and wages, because clubs aren't paying any player costs. Your player cost is literally your wages, and on the accounting books, that means you save a ton of money and it gives you more flexibility when it comes to spending. So Guehi is set to become an absolute millionaire if he isn't one already, to be fair with you. And the good news for Chelsea is Chelsea now are going to get around 20% of the transfer fee in terms of a sell-on clause that was negotiated already. So that's going to be up to the tune of around £4 million extra, which can probably help us with our current predicament right now. Now, for Chelsea fans who might be watching, wondering why we never made a move for Guehi, why is he going to Man City? Man City are signing all our Cobham grads. Well, Guehi privately rejected Chelsea, and he was still kind of hurting from how the club allowed him to leave to begin with. For me, I knew this guy was going straight to the top. I thought it was absolutely criminal how Chelsea just dismissed him, but it was the common criticism of the old ownership who didn't really value the youth talent enough without coaches intervening, of course, to kind of make their claims for players. At the moment, Marc Guehi now is set to now miss the game this weekend against Sunderland. He's going to go to Man City now to complete his medical, and expect to see him becoming a City player from next week. So it must be a real tough time for Palace, but as Guehi, did suggest, he'd rather leave now so Palace earn some money from his sale compared to leaving for free, because the money that Palace is set to earn, at least 20 million guaranteed, right, when you minus the sell-on clauses and stuff like that, that's around 10.5% of their annual turnover, which is absolutely insane. So they can't afford to say no to the money, but Palace don't just do things for the money, they do things for the love of the club and for success, and that's something I really respect them for. So yes, that's it now, Palace fans. This must be one of the testing times for you right now at the moment. It can't be a great thing to lose your club captain, one of the famous players in your club's history, considering the accolades and honors that have been won over the years. It's crazy times, man. But at least Guehi now gives you a bit of money to play with. I guess Palace have been kind of preparing for his inevitable loss by the capture of Toulon defender in JD Canvo. So you do have options to help you with, Lacroix is still there. I know the Moroccan defender they signed from Getafe, he's returning back soon. The Giadi, I think his name is. But of course, with Palace still having things to play for, still competing in the Conference League, losing your captain, your talisman, the star guy in your defense, and let's be serious, one of the best defenders in the Premier League, that's going to be a massive loss for any team. So for Man City, they've really done well to get this business, and their business for Guehi basically screams to Arsenal, get ready for the title fight of your lives right now. They've captured Semenyo, they've captured Guehi, two Prem ready stars, who are going to instantly add quality to their team right now. Of course, City made this move after Diaz and Gavardio had long-term injuries. They did recall back Max Alanier from Watford, but you know, when you've got guys like Kusanov who's still finding himself in the league, and Nathan Ake who's kind of getting a bit old now, it makes sense that if City have serious title ambitions, that they do make a move for one of the best defenders in the league for the bargain deal. Even though paying nearly £29 million for a guy that has less than 6 months left on his deal is insane, but that's the money and wealth in the Premier League right now. Of course, it will continue the conversations that many Prem fans have around Man City, the controversy surrounding that club, the financial doping that many have rightfully at times been quite critical of. Of course, City now are spending like crazy. Last January, they brought in Marmoush, Reyes, Kusanov and Gonzalez, and already they've signed more players to add on top of the other players they also signed in the summer. It's like getting close to like $1 billion worth of investment, but you know, Man City are still able to kind of controversially do creative things with their books, with their deals, with their club sponsors. So let's see what happens. As we know, at the moment, they are under investigation. Things have been getting delayed and delayed and delayed. I wonder if we get to the full truth behind this, but in the meantime, Man City are taking advantage of whatever situation they're in by ensuring that they have a team now that is ready now for the next 5 years. So that's it. Marc Guehi now has moved to Man City. Share your thoughts and opinions below on the story, because the bad news gets worse for Crystal Palace fans. And that's the fact that their manager and Oliver Glasner confirmed today that he is set to leave Crystal Palace come the end of this season. Again, confirmed by Romano and many other outlets. As Romano kind of says here, I already informed the club months ago that I wanted a new challenge, which was pretty obvious because you don't get to this time right now where your contract is set to expire in like less than 6 months' time without having a deal already in place at the moment. So it makes sense that Glasner now wants to maybe get ready for the next stage. He did incredible things with Frankfurt. He won them the Europa League. He's gone to Crystal Palace and he's probably become one of the most successful managers in their history, capturing a domestic double, you know, the Community Shield and the FA Cup. And he's got them competing in Europe for the Conference League. So he's done what he has to do. But in the meantime, Crystal Palace now have kind of been winless for a very long time. 9 games now without a win. A very embarrassing defeat, getting knocked out in the FA Cup as well to non-league sides. If you're Glasner, you realize, you know what, I've done what I can to try and keep my best talents here. I failed when it comes to getting Guehi to remain here. At the moment, it makes no sense to remain at Crystal Palace. I don't have the time for another rebuilds. I want to continue, want to progress now. I've done enough of my career over the years to put myself in this position. And there's tons of clubs in the summer now wanting a manager, a ready-made manager that can bring ready-made success and ready-made competition. Anyway, Glasner had his thoughts that he revealed today. As he says, I told Steve Parish I'm looking for a new challenge. It's my feeling after everything and again. That's why I told him in October, so it's nothing to do with the window. It's nothing, so all these rumors, I hate if something is written or told that's not true. It was tough for me not to respond. It's nothing to do with it. We have a great relationship and we're always talking about what's best for Crystal Palace. But as he says, the reasons for me is I'm looking for a new challenge. I haven't spoken to any other clubs, no interest, etc, etc, etc. Of course, with a negative run of results, we need some positivity right now. Guehi leaving isn't a great thing, but at the moment, of course, Crystal Palace have captured Brennan Johnson. They're also going to come close to capturing Onger's striker. I'm trying to remember what his name is, which is really bad. That's his name, Siddiqui Sherif, for around 20 mil euros. So Palace are investing for the next stage. They do have, you know, JD Canvo there as well. There are talents, there are capable players, and now it's up to Crystal Palace now to kind of restart their season again for the second half of the season. So Oliver Glasner, let me know in the comments which clubs you see him going to. Of course, you're looking at clubs like Manchester United, who would probably be the perfect club for him. Let's watch this space, my friends, because now we have even more big stories to discuss. as we discuss breaking news emerging from Barcelona as one of their young prodigies, João Fernandes, has shocked Barcelona by announcing that he's put in a transfer request and he wants to leave them this month. Romano again, first guy to break the story. Of course, after a decision was made between himself, his family and his team, they decided they want to leave Barcelona. There's currently a €6 million release clause that will be triggered, which must really annoy Barca, who I'm sure would have loved to have maybe got him to sign a new deal first. And of course, Hansi Flick has been informed, and I'd imagine Flick will be a bit disappointed as Flick was the manager to give João an opportunity during pre-season and at the Club World Cup. So yeah, really fascinating to know how this news is going to go down with Barca fans. Barca fans may be a bit, I don't want to say facetious, but they'll be like, you know what, João wasn't even really like the top guys to come out from the Masia. Those guys will be like Tony and Goulet. So there's still talents about. But I guess for João, he's thinking, you know what, I want to play more. I want more opportunities. It's been hard to get them, even though he has made around 5 appearances so far this season. So naturally, the question in everyone's mind is going to be, where is João going to go? And already, if there's a young talent about for a good amount of money, there's one club in this planet that will have first dibs, and we're learning that Chelsea are interested in João since this news has become available. Now, I'd imagine that this isn't available because João and his team wouldn't be announcing things if they haven't been having conversations behind the scenes already. At the moment, clubs like Dortmund, who are one of the main favourites right now, Man City, which would make 0 sense for him to go to, and even Bayern Munich have all looked at the player and expressed a desire for a player that has kind of been earmarked as a potential Pedri successor. Now, João, of course, he's got La Masia DNA, the tight touches, the drop of the shoulder. He's been raised on that Barcelona IQ on how to position yourself on the ball, off the ball, how to always play forward, how to read the game, how to read your teammates' movements. It's one of the premium academies in the world for a reason, and it produces one of the most unique styles of football in the world, in my opinion, too. João is known for his composure, but is he showing no composure by this willingness to leave Barcelona so soon? It's interesting. I mean, you can argue that it'll be very hard for him to get consistent minutes at the moment. And why waste time if you know that maybe that road to getting consistent minutes at Barca just isn't looking feasible from the short term to medium term as well. Guys like Rooney Badji might be getting more opportunities ahead. Of course, Javi is there, Marc Bernal, Pedri, of course, De Jong, and many other talents emerging through as well. So it'll be extremely difficult to kind of regularly get enough minutes to satisfy yourself. And you think, you know what, for this stage of my career, game time is the most important thing, improving and playing. And you'd imagine he's going to have a host of clubs after his signature. Now, for me, if you're leaving Barca, it would be kind of stupid to go to a club on the same caliber and level. You have to take a step down just so you can play consistently a lot more. Barca will argue, listen, you made a massive step up. Before you got introduced to the first team under Flick, you were part of the under-19 squad. You took many steps ahead, not even part of the B team, yeah? You had the technique, you got the brain, but Barca have been putting him on a fitness regime and workout plan to ensure that his body now can kind of adapt to the new level that he's playing at. So that's going to take a bit of time, but regardless, with a player like this around for €6 million, who can play as an 8, a 10 out wides, who fills that Pedri Foden type of molds, he'll be a fascinating player for many clubs, not only to maybe use in their first team, but I guess potentially for investment reasons too, because you could flip him, or if he goes on loans and he's making money that way, there's opportunities around. So if you're a Barcelona fan watching this, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this news and whether you're disappointed by proceedings, because at the moment we're going to turn our attention to the next big report. And we got some interesting news coming out from Bayern Munich. Now, earlier today, Bayern director in Crystal Freund did actually reveal very coyly that there may be some Bayern interest in Diomande. As Crystal says, Yan Diomande is a very good player who's had a very good development. It's normal that when a Bundesliga player plays well or develops well, he gets linked to FC Bayern. He's a Leipzig player, and it's not our job to comment on that. So of course he's going to keep things very discreet. He'll keep things very coy. But as we all know, Bayern, they are in the need to sign a profile that can play on the left side, but can also offer support in the middle too. Now, the two big players they missed out on last summer, Florian Wirtz, even Xavi Simons, it really did hurt Bayern, but this season they've been absolutely sensational. Bayern haven't really suffered without their losses, but clubs like Bayern are always thinking about the future ahead, right? So signing a Diomande, who currently has like 6 goals and I think 2 assists and 15 Bundesliga appearances, you're getting one of the premium up-and-coming stars. Diomande has done excellent things since leaving Leganes this summer to move to RB Leipzig. As I discussed, and let me just have some clips on screen for you guys, but I think he's really just turned so many heads this season because of his fearless running, the close control, but also I think some of the excellence that shows that he's above his age. I think for a guy that is known to carry the ball so much, the amount of times he's able to then, have a shot on goal, affect the game in that manner. It's not just taking touches for the sake of it. When I see him play, he doesn't even constantly over dribble the ball too. Every now and then he's feeling himself and he wants to kind of announce himself like that. That's fair. He's young. These are the crucial moments, the fun times where you can, be a bit more ambitious, be a bit braver, take more risks, and that's how you develop your game in the long term. But in terms of this guy's carrying threat and the end product that comes from the end of it, I think it's exceptional. I've always personally felt like many players that come from Spain, that is like one of the best leagues for silky, dribbling, carrying style players, because you can kind of adapt to any league that you go to afterwards. But in terms of what he's doing, I mean, it's absolutely nuts. Like the progressive carries, the successful take-ons, 99th percentile, touches inside the pen box, the work rate that he shows. This guy looks like a star for the future. And if you're Bayern Munich, he could be the answer to your prayers. At the moment, they're looking at him and El Mala of Cologne have been 2 of the best, most exciting youth products in the Bundesliga currently. So let's watch this space. Let's see what happens. We know that Diomande revealed in an interview recently that himself and his father were long-term Liverpool fans. Could Liverpool try to make a move in the summer? Many fans feel like they need a replacement for Luis Diaz, who maybe wasn't respected last season but had a bigger part to play than was originally realised. Could Yan Diomande be one of the players clubs are fighting out for in the summer window? Let's watch this space, because now, my friends, we end things with one of the final stories. And it's an interesting one because we're going to discuss the latest surrounding Bournemouth looking to sign the new ADRIANO. And his name is Rayan Vitor. He currently plays for Vasco da Gama. And it was confirmed that Bournemouth seem like they're set now to sign Rayan from Vasco. We learned today that Rayan has currently said his goodbyes to everyone at Vasco da Gama as he gets ready for his move to Bournemouth. And as it says right here, he was emotional after his final performance as he is set to make his move to England. Now, in terms of that move, it's believed to be around 35 million euros, and it was Rayan himself who decided that, who pushed for the move to go to Bournemouth. Now, it's a smart decision to make. Bournemouth are one of those teams here that I think will sign some of the most interesting, exciting youth products. We've seen it with Kirkic, Howson, Semenyo, many of these players, because not only are they a great club for development, but they're also a fair club when it comes to putting in fair release clauses, which means that players who perform there don't get priced out for moves in the future. It makes a lot of sense. If you're able to get your Zabanis and Howsons and players of this ilk who are maybe above like the Bournemouth pay grade, right? You must be offering something exceptional that attracts them, and it must be obvious that Rayan and his team have felt moved by the offer from Bournemouth, and considering that they need a profile that can kind of match and complement what was left behind by Semenyo, Rayan probably is the perfect player for Bournemouth actually to turn their attentions to. And that's because Rayan, back home, is seen as the second coming of Adriano, a left-footed player. For 19 years old, I think he's quite powerful, quite strong, quite built already. This season in 40 apps, he's got 15 goals for Vasco da Gama under Diniz. And, you know, if you guys know a little bit about Diniz, he's all about relationist-style coaching. And maybe that has an effect on maybe improving players by making them a bit more expressive and confident. Anyway, Rayan, very fast and explosive. He's a left-footed striker. Another exciting thing about him is that he's very versatile and he can play down different positions. Left side, right side, up front. But even considering those positions, think about the roles that he can also play. And this is someone back in Brazil that can play as an inside forward, a wide forward, that can play false nine, that can play leading the line. He has so many great attributes to his game. It really does feel like Bournemouth might be the best club for him. Not only will he bulk up, he'll get used to life in the Premier League, he'll have that time to play, and alongside himself and Krupi, Bournemouth might have one of the most exciting team-talented forwards partnerships that we've seen in a very long time. Krupi is doing exceptional things already this season. There's even more to come from him. Rayan has the potential to be Brazil's leading number 9 in the future. So, bro, it's crazy the type of power that the Premier League has. Back in the day, like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, a guy like this would be going to PSV first, or he'd be going to Lyon. But the Premier League is essentially now Europe's Super League. The competition's fiercer every season, and that's because of the money clubs have to spend, the organizations, you know, just the sheer wealth that is in this league. I don't blame fans outside the Premier League for feeling a type of way about the Prem, because it does feel like it just kind of hoovers up everything that the world can offer in terms of talent and leaves other clubs with basically nothing. But anyway, a fee of around £30 million has been agreed upon, which is a very fair price. Of course, there'll be sell-on clauses and future percentages. And in terms of voices coming out from Brazil, like famous Brazilian player and Romario, he says, Rayan is a player with a very bright future and the ability to move to a big club. What cannot happen is leaving a big club here to play for a medium or small team there and then disappear and then come back devalued after some time. That is an obvious strategy that Rayan's team have clearly thought about, considering why they've picked Bournemouth, because Bournemouth actually stand by the players that they sign, because they don't have the type of funds to just spend recklessly. You know, they're very disciplined in terms of who they need, what they want. So again, seeing how Vitor Roque suffered moving to Barca too soon and how he had to come back, it's natural that his team don't want that to happen for Rayan. But listen, this is a guy that made his debut back in 2023 as a 16-year-old. He's already been playing men's football for the last like 3.5 years. There's a lot more to come from him. I'm really excited to see him at Bournemouth, actually, especially like with the powerful type of transitional style that Iraola has developed there. This is one to watch for sure in the Premier League if you're a football fan. So my friends, that's all the stories, the big reports that's dropped over the last 24 hours on FTN today. I hope you guys enjoy. Hit that like button, share your thoughts and opinions, and I'll catch you with more transfer recaps. Love.